Whose blood is this? I advise you to tell the truth, Mrs. So.
The policeman asked her with a cold gaze. 1 minute earlier, a young blind woman was arriving at a police station under pouring rain. She has just reported the strange behavior of her husband, Kim, the previous night, and his disappearance. Our protagonist, Saw, with a dark and determined gaze, replies, "If I said that this blood is my husband's, would you look for him faster?" Through a flashback, Saw describes a night of unprecedented intensity. She explains that her husband, usually gentle, caring, and mechanical toward her because of her blindness, suddenly changed his behavior. That night, he showed himself to be aggressive, almost possessed, leaving marks on her and making possessive and threatening remarks.
Never dare let another to touch you like that.
The next morning, the atmosphere seemed to have returned to normal. Kim was leaving for work when Saw pointed out the moving noises she had been hearing in the hallway recently. Her husband asked if the noise bothered her. She replied that it didn't. She was just curious to know who was moving. After all, she was somewhat close to her neighbors. Her husband assured her that there would soon be no more noise, which left her perplexed. Kim immediately changed the subject and asked if she was in pain because of what had happened the previous night. "Your behavior frightened me," she began, "but we'll talk about it this evening when you come back," she said, gently pushing him toward the door. "Go quickly. I don't want you to be late." However, Saw felt an inexplicable unease. She had the impression that her husband's gaze had changed, losing its usual warmth and becoming cold and unfamiliar. "The doctor told me it wasn't good for my health to scrutinize everything with suspicion," Saw thought. But as her husband was leaving, she thought she heard him say something strange.
Okay, I'm heading home.
She wanted to run after him to ask for an explanation, but told herself she must have misheard. Despite her worries, she waited for his return at 7 p.m., his usual time, but he didn't come back. Why? Why? Her calls went straight to a message indicating that the number was no longer in service. Panicked, she accidentally injured herself with a kitchen knife while preparing dinner, and it was at that moment that she realized with horror that her husband had disappeared without a trace. She headed to the police station under pouring rain.
Mrs. Seo, please explain in detail what seemed unusual to you about your husband's behavior after 2 years of marriage.
After her account, the policeman coldly explained that they could not launch a search before 24 hours had passed, unless it was a criminal case. A criminal case, you say? So asked.
Yes, exactly. For example, an assault disguised as a disappearance.
The policeman glanced at Saw's blood-stained clothes and asked, "Whose blood is this?" Saw looked down and held the kitchen knife soaked with blood tightly in her hands. "If I said that this blood is my husband's, would you look for him faster?" This statement leaves a disturbing doubt about Saw's true nature and what really happened before her husband's disappearance. The meeting between Seo and her husband was very ordinary, yet unforgettable for Seo. Seo, 24 years old, had just learned that she was suffering from an incurable retinal disease that would eventually leave her blind. While she was standing in front of a shop under pouring rain, overwhelmed by despair and the injustice of her fate, Kim approached her.
I'm just an employee here. The boss is out.
Kim helped her choose her cane. After looking at the cane, Saw forced a smile and asked Kim if she could stay for a moment out of the rain. Seated in the small shop, Saw was brooding and asking herself 1,000 questions. Why me? Why do I now have to use this cane for the rest of my life? I did everything I was told. Live a righteous life and respect the rules. I even devoted myself to caring for dependent people, a job that did not inspire me at all. So why must I suffer like this? While she was feeling deep despair, Kim appeared and offered her a hot coffee. He showed selfless kindness, becoming for Saw a true light in the emerging darkness of her world. Back in the present, Saw is confronted with a terrifying truth. The police investigating her husband's disappearance revealed to her that she is the only resident in her entire building. All the other apartments are empty. "You really didn't know that?" the confused policeman asked her. "No, impossible," Saw screamed. "I've spoken with my neighbors. This is probably a mistake." "Detective!" a policeman shouted in panic after a phone call. "The station just called, and apparently the name Kim does not exist anywhere in the building registry." Saw is in shock, and the police claim she has been the victim of a massive scam. A month passes. Saw continues going to the police station, but the officers, irritated, threaten to arrest her for obstruction. They are convinced she was scammed by a man who used a fake identity before disappearing. She refuses to believe it, insisting he never stole anything from her. What could he have possibly gained by scamming me?
Whatever his motive was, only he could answer that, but he ran away. Don't you agree?
Saw takes refuge in a church, searching for answers to her questions. He ran away, huh? Ah, my sister, a priest exclaimed as he approached her. You don't seem in good shape. Go sit down and rest. I'm fine, thank you, Saw quickly replied before heading toward the exit. On the way, she stopped and addressed the priest. Father, do you honestly believe in things you cannot see with your own eyes? I'm sorry to say this, but you've been deceived as well. Wake up and face the truth. Don't end up like me, a fool. My sister, the priest began. You don't need to see something to believe in its existence. Must faith always have a reason? I don't know, she replied, confused. I really don't know. That's why I am like this, she continued, tears in her eyes. I don't even know what he looks like, and yet I fell in love with him. A man whose face I never knew, but whose warmth was my only salvation. I have never known anyone like him before. To me, he was a miracle, and then he disappeared without leaving a trace, as if he had never existed. Somehow, it was too good to be true. The priest holds her hands and declares that their meeting may well be the will of God. As the priest quotes the scriptures, "Seek and you will find. Knock and it will be opened to you." Saw receives in her hands a leaflet on which a mysterious message is written. We will help you find your loved ones, your honor, your memories. At that moment, a supernatural or medically impossible event occurs. Saw seems to regain her sight. She looks at the paper in her hands and asks in shock, "How can I see this?"
I hit my shins with tree branches so that my bones will become stronger. In the end, they will become hard like iron. That is how real fighters train. That is also why I hit the children at the orphanage. They all cried like idiots.
The young So, in therapy with psychiatrist Park, was delighted to talk about everything happening in her life.
Do you want to see my shins?
So, do you want to become a fighter when you grow up? The psychiatrist asked.
No.
Then what is the purpose of your training? He asked. Well, it's the only thing I have, So replied. If I give it up, I might forget it. I don't have a mother, a father, or a home to go back to. If I give up the only thing that still belongs to me, I will have nothing left. You see, doctor, I like having something that belongs to me. When I grow up, if I find something even more special, I will keep it with all my strength. How admirable, the doctor said while taking notes. And I will never let it go. So continued, clenching her fist tightly. I will never give up. If it leaves me, I will bring it back to me. And if it runs away, I will catch it again. I will make sure it stays by my side. But so, the doctor began, intrigued. You cannot own people, and love does not work if it is one-sided. Truly loving something is not the same as possessing it. But I want something that belongs to me and will never disappear. Something that is mine and only mine. Then you will have to learn the right method, he told her. The right method? She asked. When you finally meet someone you love, you will need a way to prevent yourself from ruining everything. Wouldn't using violence scare them away? So was deep in thought. Maybe I should hit my shins a little more, she said. The doctor was shocked. Why your shins, So? There is no way I will lose what is important to me, So replied. Are you stupid? And if I train hard, but they still leave me? I need to become stronger, doctor. That way, even if they leave me, I can bring them back. If the person I love runs away, I will bring him back no matter what.
Seo, are you nervous?
Yes, a little, she replied. Kim reassures her, telling her that he will hold her hand the whole time, forever and ever. You will never let me go, right? She whispers. What did you say? Kim asked, who hadn't heard what she was saying. Nothing. I love you. Back in the present, Seo, after discovering that her sight was returning, went to the hospital for a medical examination. Regaining sight like this shouldn't even be possible, the doctor began. I feel like I should first report this to the medical community. Is it really that serious? Seo asked. After your husband's disappearance, the fog that blurred your vision also disappeared. How could that be a simple coincidence? Shocked, the doctor stated that she had never seen such a case in all her years of ophthalmology. You were diagnosed with retinal failure 2.5 years ago. Perhaps it was only a temporary malfunction. It would be right to conduct further research, but if, hypothetically, someone deliberately and regularly manipulated the optic nerve and caused temporary paralysis, Seo already understood what had happened to her.
Hey, Honey, time to apply your eye drops.
I can do it myself, Seo replied. Let me do it. I want to do it for you. I want to do everything for you, her husband said kindly. At that time, she thought that everything he did out of love for her. Seo, returning to herself, suddenly asked the doctor why her attending physician had changed. Oh my, where was my head? The doctor began. I should have explained this earlier. I replaced Dr. Park. He was offered a fantastic opportunity abroad, so he will be working overseas this year. Ah, Seo thought. My husband did not disappear alone. Seo, I hung our wedding photo here. The newlyweds were standing in front of what was supposed to be their wedding photo. I wonder what expression you had in the photo, Seo asked. Exactly like this. I have a big smile, her husband replied. Both you and me. In front of the empty frame, Seo had new information about her husband. So his name, his company, his registration number, you're saying they are all fake? Yes, her interlocutor replied. All the surveillance cameras in the building and on the street had disappeared, and the neighbors had also disappeared, so there were no longer any witnesses. Despite that, could we still find my husband? She asked. It seems they acted systematically, under direct orders, the detective replied. Why don't we start with the neighbors you remember, all right? Everything you can recall. Seo then began to describe in detail everything she remembered. First, there was a young man who kept a puppy next door. I want the truth, Seo thought. Not just assumptions or hypotheses, only real answers. And then, I will get him back, whatever the cost. The only thing in my life I could truly call mine. I refused to give up and let it end like this. A few days later, Seo went in person to the office of the private detective she had hired to find her husband. So, were you able to discover anything about my husband? Seo already understood that the answer was no from the detective's expressions. Just, what kind of bastard? What kind of worthless scum were you living with? The woman in front of her shouted. That disgusting bastard who ripped out his own tongue to use it like a fly swatter wouldn't even pay for what he did. Hey, Chana, calm down and try to speak more clearly. Aren't you angry too? Chana asked the boss. You are Mrs. Seo, right? The detective began. I am Jung, head of the information analysis team at Blast Corps. Blast is a private military company. We are licensed by the government to provide military services in overseas conflict zones. This delivery service is just a small side activity managed by our team. Well, enough about Blast's introduction. Mrs. Seo, I'm sorry, but we cannot accept your request. What? Chana shouted. Why not? Seo asked. Chana quickly intervened. The neighbors you described, most of their names were fake, and the schools and companies were all fake too. Seo could not believe her ears. How badly had she been deceived? Chana continued her monologue. But you see, that bastard made one mistake. You said the neighbor had a puppy, right? Even if everything else was fake, the dog's name was real. We checked the veterinary registry, and the dog's file listed a different owner. A 67-year-old woman. Youngmi? No, Seo replied. The owner was definitely a young man. Maybe the dog you're talking about is different. Exactly, Chana cut in. We went through 5 years of Youngmi's credit card receipts, and look what appeared, Chana proudly shouted, showing her phone to Seo. Sorry, my sight hasn't fully recovered yet, Seo apologized. That was inconsiderate of me, Chana replied, while her boss Jung had completely lost where to put himself. So, this is a bookstore receipt, Chana continued. NIS, Grade 9 Exam Preparation, NIS, NIAT Basics, and Advanced Editions. The NIS, you say? So asked. Yeonmi has a son, Jung continued. Officially, he is employed at a publishing house, but embedded agents often blend in as ordinary employees. If her son passed the NIS exam and infiltrated as a low-level field agent posing as your neighbor— Wait a moment, I don't understand, So interrupted, increasingly confused. Lost in his thoughts, Jung kept asking himself 1,000 questions. So, who are you, really? They drove a woman completely insane, then vanished. They bought an entire apartment building and controlled a 200-meter radius around it. This operation was neither the work of a rookie agent nor a small-scale mission. For someone in your situation, this means you were targeted by a black operations agent of the NIS, Jung continued. Only high-ranking NIS officials know the identities of Black Ops agents. They are trained to hide their faces, conceal their real names, and leave no trace behind. If this is true, then your husband will never be found. Ooh, hello, husband.
Ugh, disgusting. No matter how many times I see it, it's like a snake shedding its skin. I still can't believe it.
Let me introduce Wan Chung, a special NIS agent from the National Intelligence Overseas Bureau, field support team, and, of course, hacker. So, team leader, were you able to escape safely? Yes, the man replied proudly. I was so afraid of being discovered that I ran away without looking back. Let me introduce Lee, a special NIS agent from the National Intelligence Overseas Bureau. Unofficial team, codename Maka. A silicon mask, and even a voice-modifying chip, Wanchang began. Since working with you, team leader, I can trust no one. And you are such a good actor. I really thought you were truly in love, team leader. Oh, Wanchang, you really do have a big mouth, don't you? Wanchang realized he absolutely should not continue this conversation. Anyway, team leader, about our target, it seems the owl really liked you, he said in panic, quickly changing the subject. In fact, the local police station was in full activity a month ago. The owl arrived covered in blood, claiming it was her husband's blood. A sudden noise startled Wanchang, and he asked his team leader if everything was okay. He had just braked abruptly. Blood, you said? Lee asked, stopping the car in the middle of the road. Ah, it was just her own blood, Wanchang replied. She said she cut her hand while cooking. Anyway, the missing person report was processed faster than expected, so the fake identity was quickly uncovered. The owl is smarter than I thought. I obtained footage from the police station. Do you want to take a look? Wanchang called out to Lee, already on edge. Yes, Wanchang answered immediately. Spit it out in 3 seconds. The reason I have to watch this video and ruin my mood, Lee asked coldly. Do you think what I experienced was a real marriage? The owl was just a target, and the role assigned to me was perfectly that of a husband. This impossible mission is finally over, so why are you bringing up this horrible thing? I don't look back, and I don't even think about it. I'm sorry, Wanchang began. I watched her for 2 years, and without realizing it, don't tell me, Chief Lee began. Are you bothered that I slept with a civilian? Is that it? Wanchang was stunned. He could not tolerate his boss's vulgarity. Can you name even one place that trains Black Ops agents without education? Let me take you to kindergarten. Our Wanchang is such an innocent child who needs to grow up clean, right? No, sir, Wanchang shouted, not wanting to hear any more. I'll fix myself. Good, his boss replied. If you understand, don't even dare mention her name. Yes, sir, perfectly understood. By the way, team leader, about your resignation letter, Lee had already hung up. Wanchang understood that his boss must have been truly angry. He looked at his screen filled with information about Seo for a moment and said goodbye. I hope you forget our heartless team leader quickly, he wished sincerely. That's without knowing our owl, Seo. You didn't do your research well, Wanchang. Meanwhile, Seo had absolutely not given up. She was once again in a meeting with Channa. So, Channa began. Did you say you wanted to defect from North Korea? Did I understand correctly? She asked in a whisper. No, Seo replied firmly. Defection to North Korea. Not from North Korea. Not from, but to. I'm saying I'm going there, Seo concluded. Channa jumped in shock when she understood Seo's insane idea. If I have to meet a Black Ops agent from the NIS, I figured I should at least escalate this to the level of an international crime, Seo continued. I've identified places like the Unification Bridge in Paju. I contacted you for advice because you are from North Korea, Channa. You're insane! Channa exclaimed, struggling not to lose control in a public place. Do you really want to get locked up by the NIS? Yes, Seo answered without hesitation. He said he was someone who never leaves a trace, so I'll try the opposite. If I stir things up, if I do a lot of bad things and get caught by the NIS, I'll be able to meet active agents, right? Seo's gaze was completely devoid of emotion. No one could convince her to abandon this crazy idea. Kim, my husband, we will meet again, no matter what. You will be the one who comes to get me, she declared. Meanwhile, team leader Lee was already thinking of turning the page quickly and taking the vacation he believed he deserved. A few days later, Seo was already putting her plan into action. The border agents thought they were having a perfectly ordinary day, without noticing the unidentified car speeding toward them. I don't feel well today, one of the officers complained. Is it because of the morning shift? His partner asked, worried. Behind the wheel, Seo recalled her conversation with Channa. Suppose your plan works and you end up catching your husband. Then what? I don't know. Should I kill him or love him more? What should I do? Until now, Seo did not know how she would react if she faced her husband again. I miss him and I want to kill him, she said. But still, every day is so miserable without him. Stop! Stop! Catch her! The agents finally realized that an unknown car was heading toward the border. That's right. Hurry up and catch me and take me to my husband, Seo prayed, extremely impatient. Good, this should be enough, Seo thought, after passing the officers who were supposed to stop her, only to notice they were busy with something else. One of them was having a medical emergency. He could no longer breathe and was on the verge of fainting. His partner was helping him, completely ignoring the intruder, Seo, who did not understand why they weren't coming to arrest her. She was already at maximum speed, and if they didn't stop her now, she would end up on the other side of the border. Assuming the other side didn't shoot her vehicle upon entry, she had already passed the barrier and had no choice. She had to stop before the point of no return. A loud crash, her car skidded to the side. Get her out, owner of vehicle 3714. As of this moment, you are under emergency arrest. Seo, her head buried in the airbag, let out a deep sigh of relief. Why are you only coming now? I really thought I was going to die, she said. Very quickly, she was taken to an interrogation room. Seo was calm. This was exactly what she wanted. Mrs. Seo, an agent began. We are from the National Intelligence Service, Anti-Communist Investigation Division. As you may have heard, you are accused of violating the National Security Act and damaging military facilities. Because of you, all nearby facilities will remain closed until the investigation is fully completed. She smiled, proud of her actions. This is a very popular tourist site, the agent continued, and because of you, all tour group programs have been disrupted. Isn't that a good thing? Seo asked under the agent's puzzled gaze. I heard a soldier collapsed due to hyperventilation, Seo continued. Wouldn't it be better for him to rest comfortably in a hospital? The agent sighed, realizing that Seo was ignoring the seriousness of the situation. The National Security Act provides penalties even for attempts. Every statement you make from now on will significantly impact whether charges are filed against you. What was your motivation for attempting to defect to North Korea? No, let me rephrase my question. Who is Kim Hyun? During the previous police investigation, you only answered Kim Hyun and remained silent about the rest. Who exactly? He's my husband, Seo interrupted. No, Mrs. Seo. You are registered as single in the official records. We lived together as common law partners for 2 years, Seo began. The agent seemed surprised by this information. Recently, the man you claimed had disappeared was also Kim, right? The agent asked. Seo confirmed that it was correct. Was your motive for defection related to him? President of the National Defense Commission of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, Supreme Commander of the Korean People's Army, great leader of the people. That's something my husband often says. The two agents were shocked by her statements, but Seo continued. At first, I thought about reporting him as a spy, but I don't even know my husband's real name or face. I think I ended up living with a spy, Seo concluded with a big smile under the agent's shocked gaze. So, would you mind finding my husband for me, sir?